Out here.
This is the Woods and Wade podcast. I'm according to Woods. She is Claudia Wade, and there's a lot been going on. Jesus, millionaires dying in Tic Tacs. What else we got? We got the stuff in Russia. I mean,
Yeah.
man, what has been in your kind of peripheral in terms of what's going on in the world?
The submarine is one of those top things that we've been talking about that no one's really paying attention to, but is only paying attention to
Which is what?
the sub. Like no one's paying attention, but everyone's paying attention to this one thing.
Yeah, you know it's weird,
Like
right?
I care, but like I don't care.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, man, I'm probably gonna put my tinfoil hat above my headphones. But my sister and I were having this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Um, did you follow anything that's going on with Jamie Foxx?
And the his shot that he got COVID shot and ended up paralyzed or blind or what was it?
So okay, so where did you hear that from? Like, was it from like a news source, like a ABC, NBC, CNN, Fox News,
I
whatever?
believe so. Yeah, something.
So what I heard was, man, I feel like we in the hood, like us, we were, talking the Chesmoso and Chismosa. But so what I heard is he collapsed on the set of a movie that he was filming in
Okay.
Georgia, right? So, and then people were like asking for prayers and like, whatever. And then like maybe 2, 3, 4 months, like 2, 3 weeks, if not a month later, his daughter was like, "What are y'all talking about? He's fine. Uh, he's playing pickleball and whatever, right?" And then the next thing that we hear is like he's almost blind, yeah, and paralyzed.
Yeah, so apparently what happened is he needed to the movie he's filming on was pressuring him to get the COVID shot. He didn't want to get it, but eventually he did. Got the COVID shot, ended up going blind in one eye or went blind and then went into like a coma or something like that. Shit, I don't remember. Now I feel like I don't remember what the hell I was talking about. But so this all happened because of the, in theory, well, that's what they're saying, because of the COVID shot. Now I had a conversation with someone, and she was telling me that her grandmother got the COVID shot, and the exact same thing happened to her. That she ended up blind, and that she ended up paralyzed. That's what it was, paralyzed on one side. But eventually, it came back just like Jamie Foxx, supposedly. So it's the same scenario.
Well, so I mean, there's a lot of, at least for me, there's a lot of moving parts, right? So like,
Hmm.
he's filming this movie, right? He collapses, and even that is disputed, right? Like, there's
Well,
not
I didn't hear about him collapsing to begin with. I heard the straight
the
to
COVID.
the
See,
COVID
and
shot
and
thing.
and and I hate that we have to do this, right? Right, but like, I asked, like, where did you hear it? Because like, I've seen seven different things, and
Hmm.
then like seven different kind of like fallouts from what his daughter said. And for those who don't know, Jamie Foxx and his daughter, they host and DJ this show, here in America on Fox called Beat Shazam, where the daughter's the DJ, Jamie's the host, and you play, like different iterations of music, and you know you're essentially supposed to beat the Shazam app in locating what the song is,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So there's that, so aside from being his daughter, they're also have this kind of business relationship where you know after this incident happened, they were supposed to, film a whole new season of that show.
Right.
So she not only is it her dad, but she also has vested interest. Um,
Right.
and then first, like another thing, and it's just like a weird, maybe nuance for me. But and I was talking to my sister, like, what the fuck is pickleball? Like, I've never, like, this obsession with pickles. Like, everybody wants to eat pickles and different.
Dude, Inglewood just hosted a pickleball um event on over the weekend on Saturday.
The
It's
fuck
like
is it?
come learn how it's I think it's like tennis, but table tennis, but on a large tennis. It's with the little thingy, but it's on a tennis
The
field.
fuck? I
Yeah.
mean,
They
I
literally I told Jason, I sent it to Jason. I was like, should we go check this out? And we just totally forgot we were gonna because I wanted to go see what it was.
that sounds to me like fucking uh that like Olympics are gonna cancel wrestling. Literally, a sport, a derivative has been happening since the original Olympics in ancient Greece, right?
Yeah,
And
see,
they're gonna cut that.
pickleball.
Wait,
Pickleball is a paddle sport that combines elements of tennis, badminton, and ping pong.
that shit sounds like that fucking dumbass walk running. I'm
No, it
sorry.
actually looks
No, no,
cool.
no,
Like
no,
I
no,
wanted
no.
to go check it out and see it, see what it
Fucking
was,
curling.
because
You,
oh yeah,
you said all you like everything that you said. I heard curling. I heard walk running, which is a dumbass of fucking event. Like, I mean, whatever Olympics that they had in France or whatever the fuck. I just saw people going like this, like fucking shimming, like doing the
I
goddamn twist.
it kind of just looks like
Have you seen
ping
walk running?
pong. Yeah, it's
Okay, so
I, ca-
that sounds like this. This is fucking nonsense. Like, you
it
know,
kind of looks to me like tennis with a little paddle and ball, little balls.
you said that 100%. Um, yeah. But I mean,
So
it's just, I mean, it just sounds like nonsense. I mean, so
everyone's
it
into
like
pickleball right now. I'm telling you,
that's what I'm
Inglewood just
saying.
hosted this thing
Oh,
on
yeah, that's what I'm
Saturday.
saying.
It was a pickleball. Let me see. If you
It's like
go,
when they're saying
let me
like, oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble. But like NASCAR is not a fucking sport. Like, like I'm not saying
what
it.
do you mean it's not a sport? Turning left is not a sport?
Did you hear what you just said? Oh, there's a hint of sarcasm. All right. Woo. Okay, got you. Uh,
What do you
no, but yeah,
mean?
it's like fucking yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying it's not a skill, but it's not a sport. That's there's two different alliterations of it, right? So like, like if you weld, right?
Uh,
That's a great skill, right? You can do fucking mesh metal together and everything. That's whatever. Do I want to see the competitive welding fucking championships? No, it's not. No, no. Sometimes it's cool when they have those like. Have you seen
they
those
have
like?
those ice sculpting
Uh,
events. It's the same shit.
yeah, but that's not
Only
okay.
that one's
You
is
get
cold and the other one's fire.
that's cool. Pardon the pun, but that's cool, right? But what I'm saying, I don't want to see it as considered a sport. It's not like like it's a competition. It ain't a sport. Like, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So
Yes, I
that's
concur.
and okay. Like, if you're gonna go like NASCAR or whatever, then fucking let's put wrestling in there. Like, I mean, pro wrestling. Like, it's because it's way
But
more
wrestling is
fucking.
considered a sport now. It's on ESPN, right? They
I
comment on
mean,
ESPN about it.
pro. No, I mean amateur folk style and Greco-Roman. Yeah, that's it. But also that those sports that literally come from fucking ancient Greece, the
Like
International Olympic
soccer.
Company, yeah, the International Olympic Committee wants to fucking exit from the Olympic Games, but they keep fucking walk running. And I was like, what's next?
As they
Fucking
should. They're
pickleball.
trying to put what is it like hip hop dancing? Not hip hop dancing. What is the other one that they're trying to do? Break
The
dancing and cheerleading. I'm like, those are not.
cheerleading. Okay, cheerleading. I'm gonna respectfully disagree because like the fucking injuries those fuckers have. Like, have you seen like somebody get chucked in the air and like it doesn't go right and like the lady lands on her neck, or even like I guess it would be the spotters, right, that hoist the people up or whatever. Like
Hmm.
something just doesn't calculate with the body mechanics and whatever, and they get fucking like axe kicked in the fucking head. Like
Hmm.
that. So I feel like that's a sport, right? I mean,
Because you fuck up and throw someone in the air and lands on you.
it's of athletic ability. And I'm not saying that you don't have to like pickleball is not athletic, NASCAR is not athletic, or Formula One, because to keep a fucking basically fiberglass
Those guys lose like fucking
oh yeah, Dale
a
Earnhardt.
great amount of pounds from
Yeah,
just driving because of the heat,
yeah,
because of having to,
right.
pull a fucking 5-ton car.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's that, because you have to have it lightweight enough for it to go very fast, right? And then
Hmm.
um yeah, lightweight enough to go very fast, but heavy enough to not fucking fly off the fucking ground. You know, so
But
especially
they
when you,
do.
yeah, yeah, no, 100%. That's what I'm saying. So, but I mean, is it a sport? I guess it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? If you feel it, whatever. But like, I feel like that's a skill, and especially when it's a tangible skill, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm combat sports person, right? So like if you lift kettlebells, right, that has a tangible effect. Like a real, like there's some bodybuilders, right? Like is bodybuilding a sport? Yes, I feel like it's more of a competition, right? Um,
I think it's one of these things where you have to be able to define, is it a sport or is it a competitive thing?
right, and I think, like I said, I think it's in the eye of the beholder, right? But like there are people that are power lifters, right? They lift so heavy, but they're
Which I see
lifting.
no point to, by the way.
Right. Well, I mean, again, in the eye of the beholder. Just not just. My dad always taught me like, hey, just because you're not into it doesn't mean somebody else isn't.
No,
Right.
no, I see no point of lifting 500 pounds just to lift.
Right. And that's what I was trying to get to.
Like,
Right.
like there is no. I have a friend that lifts a gang for like one time and he's done.
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah.
What's the point? We
And,
did nothing, but it took you longer to put those weights on the bar, try to get the bar so it doesn't kill you,
right.
and then lift, record it, and then come down, and then you're done.
Yeah.
There is zero benefit to doing that.
Right. And again, it's like there's nothing tangible, because you could be a weightlifter and or a bodybuilder and not be able to pick up a bag of groceries and carry it up a flight of stairs. Like
That's
that's
what I'm
real.
saying.
Right.
I
So that,
lift,
yeah.
and I am not going to lift. I'm not going to lift a 500 pound. Like I'm not. I'm not doing it. There's no point.
Now
There's
I mean
like
but
I
I'm
get like my highest weight has been, I think,
yeah,
two two
I'm
ten,
10 pounds.
and then 210. Dead
Oh,
I've deadlift 210. After 210, I don't see the point. I'm just gonna hurt myself.
yeah. I
And
mean,
210 and 210 is really just to see if I can do it. Anything after like 180 that I'm only lifting just to see if I can lift. Th- that's why I say, because I do lift. There's zero benefit to you lifting 500 pounds
yeah,
unless you're going to do reps. And no
yeah,
one's doing reps at 500 pounds.
right. Yeah. So I mean,
There's zero
again,
benefit.
I feel like it's in the eye of the beholder, right? But yeah, this whole fucking pickleball, right? So how Jamie Foxx is out there playing pickleball after he then collapsed. Some people were saying heart attack, some people were saying stroke. And that's talking about the eye of the beholder. That's why I asked, like, where did you hear it from? Because like, if you went on 7 different sites, you
They
got
all say
seven different
different things.
answers. Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I haven't. So I think your sister posted it um about the US accidentally giving Ukraine God knows how many billions. And then I tried looking for that article and it's nowhere to be found. I was like, was it a fake article?
Yo.
Did we just throw in this fake article just to see if anyone was paying attention? Because I haven't been able to see it anywhere. I've been looking for it everywhere and I haven't seen it anywhere. I cannot find this article.
Okay, so first off, DuckDuckGo, right? That's because if you go in the Google or the Microsoft Edge or whatever, like it'll only give you certain things because Google is a company publicly traded and whatever.
Right.
So they don't, and they've been under, you know, they they've been under
But what
scrutiny
what
for
is the
things.
headline? How much US?
Ooh, oh, and yes, Alex, yes, they passed a new law to allow synthetic meat. 100%.
Why?
Wait, no, no, no.
Listen, if you are not going to eat real meat, there should be zero reasons for you to eat synthetic meat. If you want to eat what a cow tastes like, just eat the fucking cow. Stop
Okay,
doing all this fucking base, what is it?
what?
Plant based
Okay,
crap.
yeah.
Just fucking eat
Which
the meat.
okay, and while we were distracted with billionaires in submarines, no, 100%, and that's also
And
what
that's
I.
what we're talking about. That's what I was having this conversation with my husband. I said, even though they passed a law about synthetic meats, that wasn't as interesting as billionaires dying underwater or imploding, right? So because that's what we're really interested. Like, fuck, they imploded. Like that shit is wild. And in your mind, we were sitting here talking about these billions of dollars being sent off to Ukraine, and in the same breath, we continue talking about the submarine. And I said, see, we are the ones that are not. It's like what interests us. It's like it's not that we're not paying attention. It's just that it's not interesting, and we choose to just not look at it. That's pretty much what it is. We
Yeah,
choose to just pay attention to the most interesting thing.
I don't know. I mean, it's that whole Gaga shit, right? Like that's what Queen was talking about, Radio Gaga, which Lady Gaga got her name from and whatever. It's just like it's just hubbub, right? Funny enough, there's a channel that I'm subscribed to on YouTube, and
Mm-hmm.
it's this lady who's a mortician, right? And she kind of explains shit and whatever. And she had a video that was actually 4 years ago, and I don't know why it popped up on my feed today. Usually current shit, right? But like this is like 4 years ago, and it was talking about like the things that we got wrong in terms of what we believe happened at Columbine, right?
Mm-hmm.
and and even in 4 years there's been so many shootings since then, but like how they were part of the trench coat mafia, which they weren't. Like they were like those two outcast kids, which they weren't. They were actually
Dude,
bullies.
all of that shit. Oh my god. Anything that has to do with shootings and children, I want to just like murder everyone.
Ooh,
Because it's like, dude, like why are we talking like these kids, like you know what I mean? Like these kids have actually passed. Let them pass. Let their family grieve.
yeah.
And I don't mean that in a literal sense, right?
I was
But I'm
like,
saying like
wow, that's
what was the one that they just had last year, that shooting with
Uvalde,
the yeah, so my dad was watching his Spanish news thing.
right?
They had some of the family members at the year anniversary. I was like,
Right.
let them grieve. Let them just have their and I get it. Like I kind of get it and I don't. I don't understand why these parents go on TV to relive the tragedy of their children. Me having little kids, like I can't imagine having to talk to it every year. And
Well, I
it's
mean,
just like, oh,
and
like
again, it's
why?
well, just like I mean, are we gonna have a year memorial for the fuckers in the Tic Tac that went to go see the Titanic? Like,
I hope not.
knock on wood, Jesus Christ.
But that's what I'm
Um,
saying. Like we're have like
are we
why?
gonna, you
Why?
know, a year, like
Like we're not like
a year
a year of
memorial?
remembrance for
No,
like again, I get it. Like we're trying to make sure that these kids are remembered and that the kids are like not forgotten. But like can we let the parents grieve? Like they've
well,
lost their kid a year ago
but
to the date and you're interviewing them and you're in their house and I get and they let it happen, right? As a parent, they're like, yeah, I'll be part of the interview, fine. But like, why?
well, I mean, again,
What is the point?
everybody grieves differently, right? And that's one thing that I've you and I have lost parents, and close family members and everything. So everybody grieves differently, right? And some
Right.
people, part of their anger is it's like, I want to make sure it doesn't happen again. Just like, I mean, Columbine, right? One of the kids, and I know the names. I definitely know the names, but even in the video that I watched, it was like, you know, do you make them a martyr by saying their name and giving the attention that they kind of
No, you
deserve?
never say the
Right,
name.
exactly. So but even that, right? Some people like, oh, you don't know the name, and I was like,
I
whatever.
don't.
I know the name. It's like
I don't.
it's seared into my memory. I remember coming from school and going with my dad and sister to Inglewood Costco, right? And
Hmm.
they had all the TVs on, and it was just like, what do you
But
mean?
have you noticed that they don't do that anymore?
Yeah, I mean, what the show
They show the
stuff?
names, or they
Yes,
might
they do.
show it initially, but they don't continue to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean,
They'll say so and so is the murderer, blah blah blah, or the
right,
shooter, blah 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 blah. But that's it. Like they don't bring it up, and and I think that's what you're supposed to do. Like, don't bring up the name, because what happens is that's how you get all these copycats, right?
right,
Even though if they kill me at the end of the day, my name will still always be out there, whether
right.
I'm dead or not. So let me just go ahead and do this.
Yeah, but that's it.
So
But that's what
it's
I
a
was saying.
glorified.
No, but that's what I was saying about like the Columbine. Like there was a narrative that went out that might not be true about the people that carried it out and whatever. And it wasn't supposed to be a shooting. It was supposed to be a bombing that went that didn't
Wrong.
happen. And the shooting was like a backup. Like they brought the guns for backup or whatever. And again,
But
like
see,
weird.
there's so many, like, it was a conspiracy, it was fake,
Right,
there's, regardless of whatever it is, we know, like, I guess we don't know that these kids actually died, right? Like, come on, like, let's let them, if it really happened the way it's being told it happened, let these
right.
people just fucking grieve.
No, but the
It's
thing
been
about
like
it,
20 years.
but you're also assuming that they want to grieve in private, right? Like,
I
I guess,
also don't want to hear about it.
but I mean that's the thing, right? Like if you don't want to hear about it, you don't want to have it, you whatever, you just don't do it. But
Right.
with the power of social media, and I hate when people go, oh, because of social media, because that was always oh, Becky, whatever down the street did whatever. What? Oh my God. Like that part of our culture has always, since humans have been alive, I'm sure like the Neanderthals were like, uh, Bob got
It's the
whatever
gossip.
by the
We love
Triceratops
the
or whatever.
gossip.
Right. I mean, any form of media and entertainment is that, right? It's a telling of a story, whether it's real,
Right.
whether it's fake, uh, I mean,
Whether you're hated or loved,
yeah, exactly. It's to invoke a
it's
reaction.
there.
I mean, it's pro
Hmm.
wrestling
It's all
101.
about the reaction. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pro wrestling
100%.
101. If you're good, good guy, good girl, or, good person, you're a baby face, people are throwing ticker tape parades, throwing babies in the air. If you're a heel, you're getting pissed, people pissing in cups and throwing it at you and trying
Hmm.
to stab you and battery acid thrown and all that jazz. But if you don't get a reaction at all, then you need to be in another business because it's not working, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I understand that, and that's the thing. I think they all kind of relate, Tic Tac Submarine, Synthetic Meat, Jamie Foxx, all of that jazz. Like I think it all relates because like you can get seven different accounts of what happened because it's like telephone when we used to play as a kid, right? Like teacher whispers in the ear of the classmate number one. By the time it gets to classmate 30, it's something completely different, right? And
Right. We
every
had this conversation about the Bible,
yeah, no, but I think that's become my base metric
the
of
ultimate gossip book.
yeah, fair. Uh, yeah. So again, like going with the Jamie Foxx thing, right? And then like we don't hear about it, but all the same time, I just saw a trailer for a Netflix film that he's in, and I don't know when it was filmed, but like they cloned Tyrone or something like that, and it's like, and then like the number one comment was like, "Oh, are they trying to tell us that they cloned Jamie Foxx in real time?"
I
you
think
know.
apparently his stunt double did a lot of the finish up. That's what I read.
Oh man,
So I
that
don't know.
it gives you weird like Brandon Lee vibes when he died in The Crow, and even that like if Columbine is like the school shooter, whatever, somebody getting shot and or something happening, in the during the filming of a movie, right? Like Paul Walker, they had
Hmm.
to get his brothers to
His
you know
brother to do the finishing.
both
Yeah,
of them actually. There's two Walker
yeah.
brothers. Yeah, um, that and again like the Jamie Foxx. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Um, yeah, and then even like the synthetic meat, right? They're saying like the USDA passed it, right? I've been to make.
What exactly is synthetic meat? Let's see.
It's basically what like meat grown in a lab,
No, yeah, but I'm
and I
like,
mean different iterations of it. So one iteration is like, hey, if you just want the steak, right? So you just get the steak cells and you allow it to, do its thing chemically and whatever. It's like cloning, right? So they just in a petri dish
so
instead
it's
of getting
just
the whole.
synthetic beef is typically made with proteins such as beans and peas, fats like coconut or canola oil, carbs like potato starch, and minerals with flavoring such as beet juice.
Okay, that's
Just
but
eat the fucking meat, bro.
no, but no, but you're not. So obviously that can't not be. I mean, exactly true that they're allowing it to happen because since if you're talking like that, well, Beyond Burger is a publicly traded company, right? So we're already here. Before lockdown happened, there was, I mean, a crap ton of like Beyond Burger and Beyond Burger, kind of offshoots, right? Because what you can't just have one thing, like you got to have competitor brands, right?
Right.
So we already had it. So why is this big news that the USA is allowing it? One, right?
We
And
have it in every goddamn place.
yeah, so
I had a Beyond Burger meat at Disneyland.
yeah. Oh man, I remember. I mean, the last time that I went to Disneyland, and this has to be almost
So I
two
guess
decades ago, and it
so
was
I guess
like
you're
bad.
right. The difference is that there is cells
Yep.
that cultivate the meat
Yeah.
versus Beyond Burgers is just a bunch of shit put together
Right.
to make it look like a burger. This is actual cells that are being
Yeah.
created.
They're clone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like what we do with what is it, the IVF, right? In vitro,
Yeah. In
right?
vitro.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so but my thing is, right?
But
So
well, no, because in vitro is different.
it maybe I'm not too skilled and
In
not too
vitro,
versed in
you take my egg, put it together, put it back in the belly. So there's nothing fake about it. The only thing that was not done was you didn't empty out.
consummate the marriage or whatever
Right.
relationship. Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
the difference. So that's different because I believe like it's still your egg, it's still your sperm that will create our child,
Okay.
right?
So
Unless it's a donor, and then that's a whole different situation. But IVF is a little different than this. This is we're creating cells
right.
and then
So
putting. But my thing is, if we are, and I'm going to assume this is like, oh, so we don't kill all the cows and blah, 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 because there's also I was listening to a report that they're making milk free mozzarella.
okay.
So it's not going to come from a cow. It's made out of other things. And it's supposed to like stretch, taste, melt, all this other stuff like mozzarella. And there is a very big um, restaurant that I actually love because it's a Nancy Silverton restaurant, and she has Osteria Matzah and Pizzeria Matzah, and these
Oh,
are
that's by me. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever been there?
Nope.
Okay, it's fucking expensive, but it's delicious. Like if you
Okay.
go to Joya and I went to Osteria Matza, dude. It was just memorable, but you spend a shitload of money, and you need reservations for the pizzeria or the osteria.
Yeah, I've never made reservations in my life. I'm not gonna start
Really?
now.
What?
Yeah.
You need to make reservations. I love making
No, no, I
reservations.
don't. No, I don't. I'm very proud that I've lived in LA as long as I have. I haven't done a headshot. What is it? Gone on an audition and made a reservation. So I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna start now.
Well, anyway, so her pizzeria is one of the first places that are trying out this new mozzarella because
Okay.
she's very like high end,
Okay.
and she's like amazing. She makes mozzarella from scratch every day to serve because she has a mozzarella bar at her restaurant, and you can sit around and have all these different mozzarellas with different things. It's just amazing food. So she's one of the first people or first restaurants that will be trying out this new cow-free mozzarella or milk-free mozzarella. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, why are we? Isn't are we? So if
Okay.
we don't take the meat, if we don't eat the cow, what are we doing?
No, no, but the okay. So first off, um, all right. So when they're saying like, oh, now they've passed it, I am very skeptical, right? Because like when you go into like cloning and stuff, man, like you remember hearing about like Dolly the llama or the sheep or whatever that they cloned successfully.
Hmm.
Okay, that was like '96, and then we didn't hear anything about it,
Because it
right?
probably died. It probably didn't happen.
I don't think so. I think they've been doing it the whole time, and who the they is, I mean,
Who
that's way
knows?
above my pay grade, you know. So, but I'm just saying, like, now that
Who
they,
was to say that we're not eating synthetic meat already and we just
that's what
don't
I'm
know
trying
it?
to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's already whatever, and then like when people are getting sick, they're
Well,
like,
shit.
oh,
If it
we,
is, then my steaks are fucking delicious. Thank you.
okay. Well, so also, in terms of like the, the Beyond Burgers or the veggie burgers or whatever, when you're doing like cholesterol and this and that, whatever, it's not even healthy. So what are you even doing, right? In
But
terms
that's
of,
what I'm saying, right?
well,
Like
people,
there's no health benefits to not eating the meat.
right?
I can eat the meat.
Yeah, but you can't, you know, if people believe, right? Belief, I go back to John Mayer's Belief song, right? Um, it puts they put the folded flag inside the mother's hand belief, right? Like that folded flag is like the ultimate sacrifice of the life, and that's like the
Hmm.
trade-off and whatever. If you get like to somebody uninitiated, it sounds like fucking horseshit. Like this is something that was made sometimes not even in the country in which you serve and whatever, and it's the life and baby of a living person, and you swapped it out for a thing, right? So, and that's supposed to be honorable. So, I mean, it's in the eye of the beholder,
Uh
right?
huh.
So, I just it's whatever you believe, but I mean,
I guess. I don't
there's
know.
there's portly vegans, right? Like there's unhealthy vegans, there's unhealthy meat eaters, there's whatever. So it's what you justify and how you justify it. Like I don't eat chicken on a bone. I think we've gone over this, right?
Hmm.
I can't even watch like meat or any type of thing prepared. If I see it like with it's whatever, I'm out. I'm out. But give it to me on a plate, fuck yeah, I'm in. As long as it's not on a bone. I don't fuck with T-bones. I don't fuck with chicken wings. Like
Chicken wings are the
that's
best.
not great to me. Um, you
Love
know,
some chicken wings.
yeah. So and PETA's responsible for that. So I guess fuck off PETA. I mean, or
Fuck
thank
pita.
you, or thank you, PETA.
Pita's a waste of fucking time.
I mean, but I mean, aren't many things. Pickleball, I could say is a waste of time. Jumping in a submarine if you're a billionaire is a waste of time.
That's
Building
just
a
being bored and I have a gang of money.
Well, okay. So to go back to that, right? This isn't new. Motherfuckers that want to spend a shit ton of money to go, see the Titanic, right? So why
Like
now is this
you
one?
saw that shit in '94. You saw what happened. Why are we doing this?
Wait, what happened in '94?
Or what time? What year did the Titanic come out?
I feel like it was later than that. I want to say
Whatever
'97.
year you saw what happened, just rewind the fucking movie and you'll be fine.
Okay. Do you want to know what my favorite part of the Titanic is?
What?
Wait, do you have a favorite?
When Rose won't share the damn door
No,
because
that's
her
not
fat
great.
ass wouldn't scoot over,
Yeah, there was
and what's
definitely
his name
enough
could have been
room.
saved.
Yeah, there was definitely enough room.
What's his name?
100%. Jack.
Oh, George, Jack, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Jack
But
could have definitely fit on there,
oh,
and
100%.
like Lewis and like
Oh,
Captain Kirk, they could all fit in there.
Captain Kirk? Isn't that motherfucker from Star Trek?
Whatever, they could have fit in the damn thing.
This one was like Captain and Tennille. Yeah, like they all could have fit. Casey
Yeah,
and
it
the
was a
Sunshine
big
Band.
ass. Shit, Casey the Sunshine Man could have been on there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
And
But
then there's plenty of doors to like climb on that no one had to. Well, a lot of people had to die, but like some of them didn't have to. They
I
could have been
mean,
like, "Look, that bitch Rose got a door. Let's go get her some door." Fuck
yeah.
that.
So
Some
funny
freaking
enough,
thing you
right?
have to go
Like you
down.
talked about that, right? So James Cameron, like I remember, like one of my wormholes that I went to, right? Especially when HBO. What happened, bud? What do you do?
He's digging in his nose. He's been a boy.
Oh hell yeah! Right on. Work hard.
Gross.
Yeah.
Gucci.
No, are you familiar with that show Real Sports on HBO?
Um.
It's
Yeah,
like
but I don't watch it. I know what it is, but I don't
yeah.
watch it.
So they literally went ahead and did a piece on these rich billionaire types that would go down and
Nope, don't touch that.
you know like go into they don't call them boats, they don't call them vessels, they call them submergibles,
Right.
right?
Did
And they
you hear that they already have like an ad to hire a new person to drive?
I don't know how
Like,
real that is, but that's
that's what I heard.
hilarious.
It's already up there. Like, hey, who wants to work here? Because we didn't lost. You know,
Yeah,
that one
but
guy is gone.
the fact that it was like a $30 Logitech controller, like a video
Yeah.
game controller, like that's a case kind of study. Like maybe AI is better. Like if we're
Yeah.
gonna continue to do dumb ish, like that's it. Like I think CBS was like, uh, what do you have, to keep everything together? And it was like duct tape from Home Depot, and it was like you're $25,000 a pop. Jesus Louises, man. So
Well, my grandmother-in-law was telling me that she saw a report of another son and father that were supposed to be there,
okay,
and that the son was looking up all the info. So this is just what I was told. I don't know. I haven't looked up the article or anything, but she said that the son looked up the info about the submarine with the tic tac, whatever you call it, and that he had found a lot of bad articles on it and not a lot of crap that was going on. And so the owner was like, "Look, I'll give it to you for 150 instead of 250." So he was like, "I'll give you a discount of 150 instead of 250." And that they were going to go, except that the scheduling just didn't work out for him. And so they were like, "Nah, because the schedule doesn't work out, so we're just not going to take it." And so that's when the other father and son took over, and that's they ended up going because this other people weren't able to go. I was like, "So you know your shit doesn't work, and you're like, fuck it, I'll give you a discount if you just come see for yourself." Like, bro, I don't get it.
I mean, yeah, man.
First of
And
all, my
even
red flag would have been my my red flag was there is I have to bolt. You have to go in, and I'll have to bolt you in from the outside. Nope.
Yeah,
Mm. I was just having this conversation with my husband. I was like, dude, I was afraid of the submarine at Disneyland
yeah.
because I didn't know that it didn't go down.
Wait, it doesn't go down?
Oh.
Then it's not a submarine. Like if it's sub means you
So,
submerge.
listen. Okay, so this time that I went with my kids, where you're seeing like six subs just rotating in an area, right?
Okay,
And I realized this thing doesn't go underwater.
okay,
So what happens is you get into the well, you know how you go down, right?
okay,
You go down the little spiral thing. And if you haven't gone to Disneyland, don't watch this anymore. Just you know, go on your own. And then you go down and you're sitting in front of a window. Each person has their own window and you're watching, right? And then they'll tell you, oh, the sub's going, whatever, we're about to take off. And then you hear the blue, 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 all the bubbles, right? And you see all the bubbles in the in your window. But see, that's the illusion, right? You see all the bubbles and you think that the sub is going down because the bubbles are. So you're like, oh shit, we're going under. No, you're just kind of just moving around in circle. But the illusion is the way they do the bubbles on the windows. It makes you think that you're going down. Jason was like, wait, you didn't know that you didn't go down? I was like, no! All this fucking time I thought I was going under and I was afraid of the goddamn submarine when it's really just going in fucking circles.
which I feel like it's just the media, right? Like seven
Yeah,
different
like we
ways.
should have
It's the
known.
illusion of it being news, but it's just like
Yeah.
bullshit and gossip and whatever. And people
Right.
like even the fact that people go to school for like what we're doing now. Like, okay, if you're in 1952, okay, I got it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have like FCC regulations. I was like the last wave of that, where like, I went to radio school in 2003 and
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and then by '07, theoretically, 4 years later, like the first like internet stream and podcast. Like actually, I remember when I was in high school, my uncle having like a radio stream station, like 5 years
Mm-hmm.
before Sirius and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's always happened. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
We're all just in a Disneyland submarine. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, oh God, there's a great thing. It's literally just two parts. It's on HBO. I don't know if it's on HBO Max or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
it was essentially Robert Rule, who's a comedian, and he was on this show called Arliss, where he was like I don't know what the fuck it was about, but I just know that that's what people know him from, right? But he did this thing called Assume the Position, where he went into class, right, like at a college or whatever, and he was just
Mm-hmm.
like myths that we believe to be true, and it's bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the whole thing about like Paul Revere, right?
Mm-hmm. I think I remember.
Somebody's playing music, huh?
Oh, did you hear it?
Of course, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're
Let
good.
me turn his. Jay, can
Um,
you close the door? Can you close the door, please?
anyway,
I know.
so in terms of Paul Revere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, he did. The tale of Paul Revere, for those who don't know, is when the British were coming. You know, there was a guy who was riding on horseback, and he went from one end of the East Coast to the other with a bell telling the British are coming, and to prepare people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, do you know who wrote that story? Because you got to remember the the actors, the whatever of the day were people who wrote, right? Books were
Mm-hmm.
the only form of information. Do you know who that rock star was during that time?
Who?
Washington Irving. Do you know
I
him?
don't know who that is. No.
He created this book called Sleepy Hollow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Familiar? Ichabod Crane, the whole deal, right? So after that, he needs another, like, sensing that there's war with Britain, is going to happen. They needs he needs another hit,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he basically, I don't know if they're flying overhead. I'm sorry about that. But essentially, he needs another hit, right? And he wants to, stir up American sentiment, right? And he basically pens the story of the riot, the midnight riot of Paul Revere, or whatever the fuck, right? But
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing: Paul Revere went ahead and um, rode maybe 12 miles,
Mm-hmm.
right? There was a guy named Nathaniel Bissell who went from one end to the other, letting people know. But if you're a book writer, what sounds sexy, right?
Right.
The late night ride of Paul Revere, or let me tell you this about Nathaniel Bissell,
Right.
right? The fucking vacuum cleaner in current day, right? So,
I just bought a bizzle actually, by the way, today.
well,
It's pretty amazing.
Mazel tov, you know. Um, so, and that's been the course of media in, at least in this country, since then, right?
Yep.
Is like, you know, if it's fact or the legend, you print the legend, right? And there's a saying that I like to say, which I got from Conan, that like literally like the legendary luchador, and he was in WCW, Batty Batty, whatever. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. So even if
Right.
it's not real,
It's a
give it
good
a story,
story.
and
Yep.
that's become the nature.
True.
Yeah, uh, true, not true.
Right.
Um, and that's become the nature, and that's literally the foundation of how every form of media, at least in this country, has been built and fortified. Right. I
Mm-hmm.
remember going, being in radio school, right, and basically what we'd have to do is we'd have an article, right, whatever happened. So if you're doing the local news at this hour, okay,
Mm-hmm.
local news, look, scan the stories, right? Pick one that you like, right? And in that story, you got 7 seconds to summarize it, because by the time the news comes on, especially when it comes to either drive time radio or morning radio, right, which is the
Mm-hmm.
two key, times that people
The
are in
time
their
zones.
cars,
Uh-huh.
right? Basically, you need them to get to the other end of the commercials, because the commercials is how you got paid. You don't want them to turn the channel, right? So essentially, you're like, oh, fire crash kills 8. Oh fuck, I gotta listen to whatever so I
To what's
can.
gonna happen? Yeah.
Right, exactly, and that has always been the case, even with TV, right? Where, um, like everything that we watch, like if you
Is an
think it's,
anticipation.
yeah, no, I mean, if you think everything is like artistic expression and this or that, like, no, because there's a million artists that you've never heard of. That's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, screenwriters, sculptors, musicians, whatever, that you've
Right.
never heard of, and whatever. But there's a certain segment, like a minuscule amount of people, versus how many people actually do the thing, but make it through to where their names, their work, whatever, right? But
Right.
that is essentially, it's just placeholder so you can get to the commercials. Commercials are the most important thing to that station, to that, whatever, streaming, whatever.
Right.
It's now the only time that in history, at least American history, that it's not been like that is because of streaming. But because of streaming, what happens? We pay so we don't have to have
Your
commercials.
commercials.
Right. So that's how they get the revenue. But ever since, like, even the pantheon of TV, if you look up, like we know, like, I Love Lucy, right, or The Honeymooners or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right, and we just see the show, right, and then they plug in whatever our current commercial is, like Geico
Right.
Insurance, whatever, whatever. But if you are watching it in the 1950s, right, Lucy and Desi in a scene with Fred and Ethel, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're doing the thing, whatever, whatever, right? And then, like, the last thing that you see before they go to commercial is, you know, somebody, let's say like they close the scene with Fred and Ethel, right? And then literally Lucy and Desi, whoever's not in the scene, will run to the other side of the studio, and it'd be a set of whatever,
Yep.
Maytag washing machines,
Right.
whatever. Brought to you by Maytag, blah 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 blah, right? And then halfway through it, you know, if it's Desi and Lucy, right? Basically Desi leaves to start the next scene because he's
Right.
in the next scene, and to make time so she could get undressed, changed, and whatever to be in the next scene. They did it in real time
Right.
because it
Mm-hmm.
was just all one floating camera,
Right.
right? So that's been the most important thing, and I remember even like if you wanted to be on the air, you had to sell a certain amount of advertising space,
Mm-hmm.
and if you didn't, you didn't get on the air. You got the street team where you're passing
Mm-hmm.
out stickers at the concerts, and most people are like, oh, that's great or whatever, but no, like it's the most like gritty job, whatever. You have to deal with people that are inebriated, 7 stages
Mm-hmm.
of inebriation or whatever. If you're a female, you know bad things happen. It's like whatever, just to spread the gospel of the station,
Right.
and hand stickers, but you'd get fondled or bad
Whatever.
news, right? Exactly.
Right.
So yeah, so again, that's why I love that thing, and a lot of people don't know about that. So I'll turn them into it, and I saw that. I think I was in middle school or high school when it came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like those two, and they're half-hour specials, and you
Right.
even see like Tucker Carlson before he was on like Fox News, and he was like actually a liberal, right? And now he's like super Fox News, and then now you know Fox News kicked him off, CNN kicked off Don Lemon, and then
Yeah.
Tucker's doing Twitter and whatever. But like you see how he has even changed in terms of his presentation. He always wore the
Yep.
stupid tie or whatever, but he was super liberal. Alex Jones was super liberal, and then
Mm-hmm.
Trump super liberal. Whatever. And there's different iterations of that. The Republicans, Democrats, whatever. They're all kind of it. I revert to George Carlin, the comedian. It's a big fucking club, and you're not in it.
Uh-huh.
And that's it. So, but that's it. So whether it's horse meat, whether it's Tic Tac Submarine, I actually think those fools fake their own death because it's just you know like if who insane, not insane, but
But
sane mind,
insane mind, yeah.
right? Sane mind would do that. Like you, and not only that, but you pay $250,000 to do. I,
But he's been doing it for 2 years.
no, no, no. So again, man, you got HBO?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think so.
so I mean, if you've got any of the streaming, whatever, Real Sports, man, if I can find a link, whatever, Real
Send it to
Sports,
me.
yeah, Real Sports literally did like a 20-minute thing about
On
different.
this, on the submarine.
No, it's not even that. I mean, of submersibles that
Mm-hmm.
like I mean, it was a game for the uber rich, right?
Uh-huh.
And like James Cameron, like
Uh-huh.
his submersible that he used for Titanic, he sold that to another millionaire in Texas, and like it's a whole like thing. Like we're just now hearing about it, right?
Right.
But
No, and
those,
it's right because we don't hear about it, but apparently it's more than one company that probably does it or something like that.
yeah, and I mean
But
it's a whole
other
industry.
companies are a lot more safer, and I guess I don't know,
Yeah, um, I
or that
guess.
have better regulations, or that
I mean,
actually comply to regulations, whatever it was.
yeah, and that is just, you know, it's all subjective, right?
Right.
Um, yeah, yeah, better, best bet. Some people just want to do it for the hell of it.
Right.
Um, I don't know, man.
I'm
It's
just bored. I'm
just
gonna go spend $250,000. I'll be right back.
what? Oh, I thought you were actually leaving because I had the other yeah, I had the other tab open trying to figure it out. But yeah, I feel like uh yes, it's a smoke, just like the bubbles in the Disneyland submarine, right? it's just like all this other shit is happening, and then
Mm-hmm.
oh look, you know, and even like the Uvalde stuff, right? And not to
Yeah.
like, there's a reason why people do it. Like man, I was obsessed because it struck a nerve in me. That the Oklahoma one where the dude was a pedophile, ends up
Mm-hmm.
marrying a chick with 3 kids, and then has the yeah, sleepover. The daughter has a sleepover. Stepdaughter has a sleepover. At the same time, that dude is talking to the girl that got him sent away to prison. Whatever. He wasn't supposed to marry the chick with kids because he wasn't supposed to be around kids and whatever. And then when he gets found out, like he kills everybody, including it. Right. And look at how. Do you know how crazy this is? I don't know what part of Oklahoma it is,
Mm-hmm.
um, but the Oklahoma, I don't know, whatever local authority, right? That was in charge of the investigation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know when they finished their investigation, but it was pretty quick, right? And then like all the caution tape went in, like whatever. The dad of one of the girls who came over for the sleepover that got murdered, like he went in to the house where all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff happened, and he found and he took a film crew and filmed all the stuff that like the computer was left. Like there was straps, like S&M bondage straps all over the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he was able to find it. And then he even found his daughter's cell phone
Oh
in one of
hell
the
no.
cabinets.
Mm-mm. I can.
Right. So, but like how you're saying, like, oh, why did like leave these people alone? Well, again, grief happens in
Many
different
different
ways.
ways.
Right. So for them, telling the story and keeping it in people's consciousness is their way of healing. Do you know
Yeah.
about John Walsh? Do you know who that is?
Sounds familiar.
John
I'm
Walsh
terrible
is
with
the
names.
host of America's
Oh,
Most Wanted.
yes. Uh huh.
Okay. Do
Right,
you
right,
know what
right.
happened to John Walsh?
No, what happened to him?
His son Adam was kidnapped. Like
Hmm.
one of the like I want to say it's like
I
late
think I
70s,
remember
early
hearing about this.
yeah, late 70s, early 80s, right?
Hmm.
And he was like the first like real national case of like kidnapping, and then they found him. Like I don't know the details or whatever, but what did it do to John Walsh? The first time we see John Walsh is looking for his son,
Hmm.
right? Him and his wife, you know, they were looking for their son, whatever, and then when they find the remains and everything, and and we're with them through the trial, that ushers John Walsh to try to pass legislation, right? And I think he runs for office in Florida. I feel like this
Hmm.
happens in Florida, right? Um, and that's why even still to this day, right? If you're in a retail establishment and you hear a code Adam, it's from Adam Walsh, and they're saying, a child has been taken.
Abducted. Hmm.
Yeah, so it's still right. And then I don't know what John Walsh was doing before his son got captured and ultimately ended up passing away,
Hmm.
right? Dubious means, ended up getting murdered by his abductor, right? Um, but look, like you didn't even know that. America's Most Wanted is what you know for, but there was a whole
Right.
path. Like it led
To it.
him right, exactly. One of the parents of Columbine, she
Hmm.
is still in like suicide prevention because like one of the kids who carried out this plan, right, and kids at the time, right. I mean, they'd be in their 40s, almost pushing 50 now, but like
Hmm.
at that time. Um, Basically, I don't know what she was doing, but now she is like the one mother because the her son, she believes it was influenced by the other, right? The other one
Hmm.
was like very showy. He was actually athletic, whatever, right? He had a high sense of self, and that's why he wanted to carry that out and become like a martyr, whatever. And the other kid essentially was had depression and suicidal thoughts and whatever. So those
Right.
two, whatever. So the mother of the one that had suicidal thoughts and whatever, she, from what she learned about her son, right after he passed away, she is a suicide prevention specialist,
Uh huh.
and um, like on a kind of like a side mission, she basically is an advocate to have families and morticians basically study the brain
The
of people
brain.
that, right, exactly, that do these horrible things, because like she's haunted by this the signs that she feels she should have seen,
Right.
right,
And I
that
think
came out after the fact.
that's a
Right,
lot of parents when that happens. So,
right, but to your
like the
credit, like,
signs were there. It's just we just didn't see them.
right, but to that kind of understanding,
Hmm.
so to it, why we're looking back at Uvalde another year later, or
Hmm.
whatever sense of tragedy. And I mean, just to put it into context, I remember when I was in school, right, we were taught about the Boston Massacre. Boston Massacre
Yeah.
was four people,
Hmm.
literally on the news. Four people died, like on the what is it, 710 in Long Beach,
Yeah.
five people died, you know
Today.
right. So just to put it into like context, it's just like,
Yeah.
it's maddening. We have a Boston Massacre happening, whatever. Like kids today probably don't even know about that at all, because like, you
Yeah.
know, there's so much that has happened since, right? So, whether it be Clone Mate, billionaires in the Tic Tac, Jamie Foxx, whatever. It's just like these are all Gaga, and it's wild, because if you challenge the conventional narrative of what happened, and even like, I think narrative is like a phrasing that we're using now, and it's
Right.
become in pop culture, right? Because before, you were conspiracy theorists,
Right.
right? And even, we all went through lockdown for the most part, right? And I mean, people, as a content creator, I saw left and right, if you spoke out against the
Anything.
conventional, right, your channel got yanked, you got flagged, a litany of different things, you got shadow banned and whatever. And those are things that, like, like, if you watch like a Minority Report or whatever, like, this can't happen and whatever, and it's happening. Like Joe Rogan, good example, right, when he had COVID,
Hmm.
right, um he posted a video on Instagram of like, hey, this is what happened, blah blah blah, whatever. They gave me, antibodies and monoclonal antibodies and whatever,
Hmm.
hydrochloroquine, the stuff that, like, people were making fun of then President Trump about, like, oh, everybody's drinking bleach and everything like that, but
Right.
it actually worked. But if you said it at that time, you got your content pulled,
Hmm.
and your socials, whatever, eradicated, right? But you could say that now with like, absolutely, they don't even
No
flag it anymore,
consequence.
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So with that CNN thing, so Rogan literally had a live video of what was going on, right, with him.
Hmm.
He has it on his own Instagram, right? CNN put a filter like that made him look yellow, make him look sicker than it actually was. And the whole time, you could literally see, like, it was on his page, the actual video versus the one that CNN posted, you
Yeah.
know? And even with that, like Rogan, right? If I bring up Rogan to some people, right,
Hmm.
that don't listen, don't watch, whatever, they're like, oh, he's a racist. And that's all
Hmm.
they know, right? Now, here's the thing, right? So when he makes this the comment, and most people don't even know that, like, they won't look or dig any deeper. Like, Rogan's a racist. Why you whatever? You must be an Uncle Tom if you're
Right.
going against your own people, if you're watching or listening or whatever, right? So, but the thing about it was, he said that he went. So obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but he went to uh, watch the movie Planet of the Apes. I don't know which one or whatever.
Hmm.
And then, but it was in like not the greatest of neighborhoods, right? And he was like, oh, like he had gotten lost, so the car had broken down or whatever. So he went up, and when he got out, and he said like, it's not a great joke, right? But it was like he got out of the car, and it was like he was in the Planet of the Apes,
Mm-hmm.
and right then he knew, like if you watch the whole clip, right, he knows what he said is wrong, right, and he corrects himself, right. But also, comics, they operate in a different brain, right. So
Mm-hmm.
he was on a podcast. I feel like it was Joey Diaz, or maybe one of his early episodes, but he says that 30 seconds later, he's like, "Oh, that's fucked up," And also, it was a bad. I mean, not only was it fucked up, but also, like, you could be fucked up, but if the joke works, you know, you're giving some degree of levity, right?
Right.
So when you say something fucked up and it's not funny, then it
Then it's a
becomes
problem.
right. Exactly. So that was up for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the podcast episode where he says this in its entirety for 10 years. Then somebody 3 years later had basically put up a clip, just the isolated clip of him saying this,
Right.
right? And not the apology after, not the, like, oh, that was a really bad joke. Oh, yeah, that's really fucked up.
Yeah. Why would
Whatever.
they?
Right. So that was up for 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? None of this comes out, right? 10 years from the original podcast that it was on, right? 7 years for the clip,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this whole thing about like COVID, and he started having people on that had a different opinion, and these are little like what is it, virologists, and that have written more on viruses than anybody in history. They know what they're doing, and those podcast episodes would be taken down and flagged and whatever, right?
Right.
And people were trying to cancel it. Joni Mitchell and Neil Young famously was like, "I don't want to be on Spotify." Taylor Swift, like,
Right. Mm-hmm.
we're pulling our stuff off of Spotify if you're gonna have Rogan on, like all that stuff,
Right.
right? And he essentially beat it, right? His numbers got even bigger, and
Right.
imagine, like, his numbers already were
We're
warranted,
big.
right? That Spotify gave him $100 million deal, right? And then he doubles it that week, and it's remained consistent even still,
Throughout. Yeah.
right? So they didn't get him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, not but a week or two later, this clip mysteriously surfaces, a
Pops
clip that
up.
had been there for 10, again, the podcast 10 years, where you could get it in its entirety, and then the clip 7 years. Literally, there's a
Yeah.
step right on the YouTube, and that's when I get shared, whatever, and trying to get him canceled, and that's what happened. And Rogan went away for a
Mm-hmm.
bit. He didn't podcast, he didn't post nothing, until he did the apology, whatever. But even in his apology, he points out, like, it was something I said, whatever. It happened a long time ago, and also, you know, and it's such a buzzword about the cancel culture, whatever. But it is
I
a
hate that.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a thing, right? Because,
Yeah.
like, because again, they couldn't get him for the COVID, so they get him for this, right? Um, God, I forgot what I was going. Oh, fuck it. Um, Man, I was on it. I was on a roll, and I
You lost
forgot
your
what
train
the.
of thought. Sorry,
Yeah,
my I
hundred
have
percent.
I,
You,
I
you,
have
you.
people in the back. I have
Oh
people in the
man,
background. Like, hey,
better to be
this
in the
is
background than under the stairs. So thank you
yeah.
for that.
No shit.
But yeah, so it, believe what you want to believe.
Yeah. At this point,
Yeah, and
everything's at this
but
point everything's fake news.
but everything has always been, and you remember that, right? Like, people were like, oh my god, the sanctity of American media is being whatever, because Trump at his rallies, like, fake news. But then we went into pandemic, and then whatever, and
Right.
I don't believe, like, if we're on our, what, 46th president now,
Mm-hmm.
in President Biden, and again, like, the sanctity, right? So when you're like, oh, like, I lived in Bakersfield, right, when Obama got elected the first time,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was the first time I heard the phrasing, "He's not my president." It's those people, they weren't for that guy. They weren't for
Nope.
Darky, you know, maintaining the highest law of the land, right? The highest seat in the land, right?
Right.
So then come back down to LA. Still, I mean, during Obama's second term, right? And he's praised and loved and this and that, right? And then uh, was it Trump right after?
Yes.
Okay, and then even that, right? Trump was a complete. All the people that were pissed off that Obama won for whatever reason, right? And Obama's not a. I mean, you can't hold that position, the position of president, and be a good person, right?
Mm-mm.
Like in the context of what we, the morality, like, don't break the law, whatever, whatever. Obama
Right.
was dropping drones, right? Bush, both Bushes were putting us in wars that we might not have, should have been
Had
in the first
anything to do
place.
about? Yeah.
Right,
Definitely.
exactly. Um, you know, there's a great clip in the interwebs of like, it's then Senator, before he becomes vice president, then Senator Joe Biden decrying, these horrible people that use drugs and da da da, and they
Right.
put it side to side with his son doing heroin off of hookers'
Right.
asses, which, you know, and that
Which is
like,
sad.
no, it's absolutely sad, right? But uh oh, uh oh, ooh, maybe that's not great. But yeah, so anybody that says like, "Oh, now we can't," or now whatever,
Hmm.
it's always been everything that you know to be, you know, um, is not they might not be the truth, right?
It
Um,
isn't.
yeah,
Everything you know to be, it isn't.
look,
Or it is. Who knows?
well, you know about like the Rosa Parks thing, right? Do
What
you
about Rosa Parks?
know? Do you know what Rosa Parks was
Hmm.
before she becomes a civil rights leader? Do you know
I
what she
remember.
worked?
No.
She was a secretary for the NAACP.
Hmm.
Okay, so not too long before, right? There was a pregnant teenager that essentially gets kicked off the bus
Hmm. Oh, I
for the
do hear about this.
right. Um, and then after, we didn't hear anything about her, and then Rosa Parks gets it for the same thing, right? Well, that was a
Yes.
narrative because it wasn't, and I think it was like the 50s, right? To have an
Hmm.
unwed teenager riding the bus alone,
Pregnant.
pregnant, whatever, right? She's the one, the worst thing, that stuff happened to. She was
Hmm.
arrested as a pregnant like, it was bad, right?
Right.
So they had to put a spin on it. So one would tell you that Rosa Parks was a plant. She already worked for the
Hmm.
NAACP, and she was kind of a like one that she wasn't a prominent person in the NAACP at the time, right?
Hmm.
So she's the perfect person for them to go like, okay, we need you to carry groceries on the bus. You're deliberately going to sit in the
In the front.
back. Yeah,
In
it's
the
the front.
front.
Okay, yeah, you're
And
gonna
got sent to the
deliberately,
back.
right, exactly, and all the reporters were there. Whatever, they staged it perfectly, and we got what we got, and that's what we have been told since it happened, right?
Right.
But this girl gets lost in the
What's
ether,
the buildup? Yeah. Like she was the reason, but Rosa Parks
right? Because it
got the
was it was the moral high ground of the day,
hmm
So yeah, man, it's and I like I said, it's gonna be. It has gotten weirder because of social media, right? Like you don't have to. essentially have like this camcorder or whatever. Everybody's recording stuff on their phone, you
Right.
know, doing that stuff. Like even the mainstream television, like channels and companies, they're crediting and citing people that are on their phone. They're paying for that footage. You know,
Right.
um,
Major money.
yeah, 100%. So, oh, have you seen that movie Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Mm-mm.
It's all about that, dude. It's weird and creepy, but like, yeah, it gives you that. But like, that's what it. In that same vein, the people that wait at the airport or outside or
Mm-hmm.
whatever with
Hate
the
that.
you know 10,000 photographs of stuff for people to sign or whatever. How the
Mm-hmm.
fuck do you know when their flight is? Like,
Right.
or and catch them stumbling out of a bar or whatever. Like, it's a weird fascination, but again, it's money, right? Because people are
It's
interested.
fast money.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So like, it is what
It
it is.
is what
So
it
so
is.
so current events is actually, you know, what it's the Disneyland submarine. You think you're going underwater, but
It's a
it's
yellow
all an
submarine.
illusion. It's all an illusion. So, not to be too elusive, but how can people find you on the socials?
I am everywhere at CC underscore Wade. Everywhere now. I made sure everything's at CC. So we're
There,
on there.
there you go.
Just look us up.
And I'm according to Woods. You can find the Principal Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. More content. I got busy in the regular life or whatever, but I'm going to get back into the swing of things. Also, more live interviews, going back to shows again. So that's going to be fun. So just keep tuned. And if you want dumb shit memes, also according to Woods on all the socials, because I got you.
All of them.
I got you. I got you. Got you. But thank you guys for joining us. And if you haven't done it already, go ahead and subscribe to the Woods and Wade podcast on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch because we on there too. So bingo. That's it. But you guys be beautiful. And we'll see you next time with more Woods and Wade podcast. We
Bye.